Mark, I suppose it's quite simple. To make the playoffs, 3 games, 3 wins.
It's looking that way for sure. Very, very congested league table. 1 win throws you up 4 or 5 places. And it's that we'd said we needed 3 out of 4, and now there's only 3 left. So the maths is pretty simple, isn't it?
Yeah. How have you regrouped from the weekend?
Yeah, good. Boys are regrouped well. Obviously, very disappointed, as you can imagine. We had 2 back-to-back weekends, really, where the results, shapes your mood. And there's no doubt there was a lot of hurt and a lot of disappointment after the Lyon game, and obviously we picked up some nasty injuries to guys that had injuries earlier in the year, so everyone's feeling for those guys in particular. And then you have to deal with the result itself as well, losing a quarter-final at home. And then you go into a derby against one of your big rivals, and you don't get the job done there either. So it's been disappointing, but I got to say that, like I said to you a couple of weeks ago, that what we do here, we're consistent with what we do, how we review, how we analyse what we can do better, and then what training needs to look like to get those improvements. And look, there was also a lot of good in the game. We did a lot of things well as well. We dominated the entries, we dominated the possession. We looked dangerous, but we also coughed up a lot of ball, weren't accurate with our strikes, and then when we got into the 22, we just made hard work of it. So we've tried to sharpen up as many of those things as we can, but we feel like we're in a good place to be building off. We're on good foundations. We just need to get the roof on properly.
Has that getting entries into the 22 surprised you a bit? Because recently, before the last couple of weeks, you've been quite clinical with the way that you've attacked and got the tries.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the frustrating bit, if I'm honest with you. We haven't, the old saying, you haven't turned into a bad team overnight. Why we've been able to get, we've had a couple of late victories in the earlier, matches that we've had in Europe and in the league, Glasgow and in, Scarlets, although that was really early in sort of my taking over. Connaught, we were very, very clinical, on the attacking side of the ball. So look, we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater here, but we do understand why we're not converting. We know what it is, and that's the good thing. It's a much better headache to be trying to convert multiple opportunities than actually work out how you get these opportunities. And I think that's, we haven't lost sight of that. We haven't turned into a poor executing side overnight. But obviously everyone looks at the results, and the results don't lie. We need to be better.
The Dragons arrived this weekend. You will remember the opening game of the season, I'm sure, when they beat you down in Rugby Parade. What are you expecting from this time around?
Well, we're expecting a lot of the same in many aspects of their game. We've analysed them pretty well over the last 2 weeks in preparation for this week's game. They have changed a little bit from when Dai was in charge at the beginning of the year, but there's a lot of their same DNA traits. They still are a very physical team, very smart around the contact area. They've got very, very good kicking game. And then what I have noticed is they definitely trying to express themselves with the ball from a bit more and from deeper. So, we'll have to sort of factor that into our process this week around how we prepare for them.
It's the last home game of the season, given that you're all out in South Africa, they are quite early. Obviously, you say goodbye to people. It's the last home match. Just the emotions of that and how that works. Yeah,
look, it's there's always people that moving on, and there'll be new arrivals obviously come the summer. But look, it's an opportunity to get in front of our supporters. So they've been awesome. Well, since I've been at the Ospreys, really, our fan base has been great. I know the stadium's big, and you don't often hear them or see them as visually as perhaps you do in the Brewery Field or in a St Helens or a Knoll or something like that. But they're very loud. They get behind the team when the team needs them, and they've been awesome. So it's our opportunity to finish on a high. And sort of if I speak sort of like from my time as the head coach, I think we've given them something to really be proud of in the large part. And the boys' effort has been unquestionable. And we want to finish with what we think is the majority of our second half of the season, where we've been really accurate, played some good rugby, and actually defended really well as well. For the majority of the year. So yeah, we just want to give them something to smile about, and when we go away to South Africa, give them some hope as to what the end of the season might look like.
Just a word on Adam Beard, announced that he was leaving this week, but you've signed Ryan Smith. Just a word on that dynamic, sort of losing somebody like Adam Beard, but also attracting someone like Ryan Smith to maybe replace him, like to like. Is he the same sort of person, player?
Yeah, it's hard to replace somebody like Adam Beard, isn't it? You know, he does the things that you just can't measure sometimes around his cultural behaviour, how he drives the mindset around our set piece, not just recently, but in years gone by. You know, he does all the dirty work, his work in rucks as a second man, trying to slow ball down, maul stopping, you know, so things like that just look, they are a unit-based thing, but there's key people within it that actually make it function, and he's been pivotal in that, you know, long before I arrived at the club. And actually just a great bloke, the way he behaves around the youngsters, the way he behaves around the coaches, supports the coaches' messages, he's there to challenge coaches as well around the why. He's been immense, loved working with him, so it's been a privilege for me to work with somebody like Adam, and yeah, we're excited about what's next for him, but also it gives our Welsh locks, Rhys Davis, Fender, Will Griff as it stands, you know, we've got these guys coming through, and then we've got the younger crop coming through below them, an opportunity to grow and to come out of to come out and develop and become a tall poppy themselves. So yeah, we lose something, but we gain something as well.
And Ryan Smith as well, you gained with him. What were his attributes that sort of attracted you to him?
Yeah, well, we needed to replace certainly the defensive side of the game that Beardy gives us around, you know, the second man in the tackle, the slowing ball down. Beardy's got a high work rate, you know, he covers a lot of ground. So we needed to replace those things, and we needed a lock that was a caller in the line out. We needed somebody that could stop mauls, can build mauls off, and you know, the Reds have been very good this year around that area of the game. So he's definitely going to give us some of what Beardy's given us over the years, but we do feel he's a pretty athletic guy. He moves pretty well. He's not quite as big as Beardy, so he'll move well. He'll get into position both sides of the ball well, and we're hoping he'll give us some ball in hand work as well on a few line breaks here and there, and a little bit of power in the red zone. So that's what we're hoping we bring in. We've done a lot of work on him. People tell us he's a great guy as well, because, like I said, the stuff you can't measure, Beardy's been phenomenal, and we understand Ryan's been a big part of the leadership group around the Reds. He's captained the team. He's gonna bring a different type of leadership to our environment that what we're losing with Beardy.
Adam came off against Leon, missed the Cardiff game. Mark, will he be fit to have a final home game on the weekend?
We're hoping so. We're hoping that we can get some rugby into him before the end of the year. We'll see how he's looking for this week. We're not 100% sure as it stands, but we're hoping to get him back as soon as we can. Same with Tips. We want Tips to keep rehabbing like he is. He wants to remain a player for the end of the year, which is awesome. So we're just trying to go through that process of getting him back out in the field, and if we can extend our season longer and longer, we give those boys a better chance of playing more games for us.
So is it fair to say Justin won't be available this weekend, but if you get into those sort of playoff positions or that top 8, we could still yet see him on a rugby field? Yeah,
there's potential. Yeah, there's definitely potential to see him on the rugby field for sure. And, physios, conditioners are working hard at what that looks like. And most importantly, so's Tips. His mindset is he wants to play another few games with the Ospreys. So that's really important, isn't it? If you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right.
Thank you, Mark. Good luck on the weekend.
Thank you, Gar.
Yeah, thanks.
Just ask you one quick one. Gareth asked you about Ryan Smith. Are you pretty much done on the recruitment front? Have you got a little bit of business still to do? How's it looking?
Yeah, we've got a couple of signings that we've still got sitting there that we want to try and announce at some point. And obviously we're waiting to hear on the financials at the moment from the WRU and the agreement, because obviously what we can't do is myself and the coaches and Dan Griff, we've got an idea of where we'd like to strengthen the squad, but obviously with the varying bottom line on finances, we have to prioritise, and the first thing we've got to do is retain our own players, and the next thing we've got to do is replace people that are going out the door, and the third bit then is to try and add quality and try and improve the depth of the squad. So we don't really know what we can do at the moment because of the financial security, but we've definitely got some players locked in that we're hoping to announce pretty soon, which is great. And then if we get the go ahead to build depth and to bring quality in, then hopefully we'll be able to do that if the budget allows.